Hey, I'm Mr.O, the hip hop teacher, and I've been teaching 16 years in New Jersey for about 15 and in Florida for 1. Okay, so when I was in between jobs, I would substitute. I've substituted in pre-K, kindergarten, all the elementary grades. I went through middle school and not too much high school, but I have taught high school. Now, I've taught a lot of special education, almost everything on the spectrum: autism, ADHD, bipolar. I've worked with Bloods, Crips, MS-13 that had to go to school, and I had to educate them. I've done a lot. Okay. And I'm currently substituting in semi-retirement. Okay. So here's some things that I want you to know if you're going to substitute teach. Okay. It's all classroom management. Okay. Classroom management. So when you first come in, you should have some prep time. Now, that's the thing about this. It's all being flexible. It's all about being flexible. You have to have a lot of flexibility, okay? Because things don't go perfect. As you know, as a teacher, things don't go perfect. There's no perfect template because we're dealing with human beings and we're dealing with unseen things, unexpected things that could happen, like fire drills, and just someone starting to fight, someone getting sick, all kind of things happen, bullying. So we have to be flexible. You can't think like this is how it's going to go today. You don't know how it's going to go today. Every day in teaching is an adventure. So welcome to the adventures of teaching and substitute teaching. Now, if you have any time when you walk into prep, right, then you prep. You get the morning show going if you have the access to have. They usually have a morning show on TV where the students talk and things like that. You want that to come on. If they don't, cool. Okay? All right. Also, your badge and your key. I like to keep mine on the lanyard because you could forget your key or you could forget your badge. And some institutions don't tolerate stuff. They think something's wrong with you if you make a mistake. Others are cool and understandable, and others are just extremely professional and understandable. So you never know which teacher isn't going to like the way you're doing something or style, or which institution isn't. So try to make sure you don't make too many little mistakes because they may not see them as little mistakes. Okay, now, bell's about to ring, students are about to come in. You should stand in most schools in the threshold of the doorway and the classroom. So you should be able to greet people, the students, as they come in. Hi, good morning, how are you? Welcome to school. And also keep an eye on what's going on in the room. And you can walk in and out a little bit, but other teachers out there in the threshold of the doorway. So it looks good when you're out there too, okay? Instead of like, is there a teacher in there? Is there a sub? They don't know. You need to, especially in the morning, make yourself seen. And most of the time, teachers will come to you and say, if you need anything, let me know. If you need a kid to have some time out in my class, let me know. They're very nice. Usually, not everybody, but some of them, and that's all you need, okay? So that's what that is. Now, when the students come in, they're going to say, a sub, we got a sub, we got a sub. Yo, you got to let them know. Wait, sometimes I hold them outside. If they look rowdy from the door, if they're in the hallway rowdy, and jumping up and down, high-fiving and giggling and say, I'm going to sit next to you and all of that kind of stuff to their friends, I stop them right there. I make them line up or I make them wait. And I say, listen, you're not going in until you calm down. You're not taking advantage because the sub is here. That's where I get a little stern, a little strict, because they will come in like it's a party. Okay? All right. So, and once they're in, I tell them right away, there'll be no changing seats unless I deem otherwise later. And that depends on the lesson plans, if left, the lesson plans that are left. If the teacher tells you, do not change seats and do not let this one sit next to that one, and do not, you better listen. Because the kid's going to say, it's all right, she lets us do it sometime, it's okay. And they're going to be smirking and trying to hold in their laughs. Because when you change their seats, not looking at those seating charts, some of them are going to wild out. And if some are wilding out and some are laughing, the kid that really wants to learn is going to be disrupted. distracted, and it's not good. I mean, some intelligent kids will tell their parents, they'll tell the principal, but even if they don't, me personally, I don't want a kid that came to school to learn to be disrupted by kids that want to be clowns, class clowns, that is. All right. So that's what that is. You have to let them know. So I let them know, listen, I'm a teacher, right? Or listen, I'm here to follow your teacher's instructions. And if your teacher said don't change seats, we're not changing seats. If they said only 2 could go to the library or media center, only 2 can go. Only 2 could, 1 at a time in the bathroom or 2 or whatever it is, we're sticking to it. Because as soon as you don't stick to that script and things go wrong, whose fault is it? It's your fault. Cell phones. Some schools have a zero tolerance policy. Some let them have their phones in their pockets and their bags. It's very hard. You got to tell them. But if you see the phone and other people see the phone, you have to do whatever protocol procedure you have to do. I got somebody out here screaming, that is not in my yard, okay? That's not one of my students. So, all right. So once you realize, or what you have them realize, that you're no nonsense, you're not trying to be mean, but you want respect. I tell them, you respect me, I respect you. And I tell them what my favorite music is. Silence. If you need to talk, should be at a whisper or a level 1. I shouldn't be at the desk or across the room and hear your conversation. And it shouldn't be personal, and it shouldn't be personal for a long period of time. It should be about this work. And I always tell them success is work before you play. No matter what, finish your work first. And I've learned a long time ago, free time is no good in 98% of the cases, okay? Free time is no good. Do something productive. They say, oh, I'm finished. I have nothing else to do. There are books. There is vocabulary. There are appropriate websites. You cannot get on it, something where everybody's playing each other and they're laughing and making noise and all of that. That's not going to work. Okay? You know, and I tell them, be mindful of that window by the door, because anybody can look in at any time. And I'm for sure not going to be embarrassed because of your behavior. All right. Thinking of the next one. Let's hear. Yeah, so I give a brief intro of myself with a little bit of humor when necessary. First, you have to read the room, you know, but I try to lift people up, have a little bit of humor, you know, use a little bit of their slang, let them know that I'm hip, you know what I mean? I know the words, you know. So, you know, and that usually loosens everybody up because they have to get used to you, you know, and you have to get used to them. And then there's always aides. You could use teachers' aides to pass things out, to bring the attendance up. Attendance is crucial, okay? Now, first period, sometimes you got to wait. You turn it in too early, a late bus comes, and now the kids come late, and you have to do extra work and, you know, piggyback, go back to the office or send somebody back and let them know this kid, you know, is here, because parents will call if they think the kid isn't there, if they got a notification that the kid's not in attendance, and the kid parent will go crazy, right? Rightly so, because we did attendance too early. Now, the rest of the classes, some schools, every class you take attendance, some you don't. But if every class you take attendance, you have to remember, you know, even when I speak to the kids about everything else, my intro and everything, I'm holding attendance in my hand usually so that I don't forget to do that attendance, okay? All right. Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes right here so I don't forget anything. Teachers, assistants, I said that, sense of humor, and also behavioral techniques. Now, it depends on the grade, but sometimes I'll tell 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, listen, if you act like you're in 3rd grade, I'm going to treat you like 3rd grade. But I do it with a little sense of humor, but I'll say things like, you know, or do this, the countdown for silence, or waterfall, psst, flat tire, psst. Friends, we need to talk at a level 1 or a whisper, or else we're not going to be able to talk at all. Things like that. They get a kick out of that usually, you know. Some probably won't like it, but it hasn't happened to me yet. yeah, just try to keep it real. I try to be me, you know, nobody else. I'm hip hop. I came from New York. That's who I am. If you don't like it, oh well, you know. Um, and that's basically it. The main thing to emphasize, I think, in the beginning is respect. And then you also let them know I'm a nice guy, whatever, but I will send you to discipline. I will send you to the teacher next door. I know that teacher's name. And they're like, oh. Because if they think you're a new jack and you don't know anybody, you don't know nothing, they're just going to try to run over you. They're going to have a party. They're going to have a blast. It's going to be like popcorn. You put this fire out, that one goes. And it is a good idea to make sure if somebody's acting up, to send them out because everyone else will get the signal and get the message. That's it. The word will travel. Okay? But most of the time, you know, things get under control, but there always are surprises and things like that. So go in. Don't be nervous. Well, it's hard to say don't be nervous, but just know that, you know, once you establish the respect part in the beginning, use the teacher's assistance if you have any rewards. Some have school dollars, you know, school bucks. You could give some of them out. You could ask for that at the office. You know, sometimes the teacher has extra. Sometimes some schools give out candy, some don't. So that's what I mean about the flexibility. You got to know. Because some schools, they like, don't give out candy. You don't know who has allergies. Some schools are like, yeah, give them candy. You know, you know, the same with the cell phones. Sometimes like, what are you doing with that cell phone? We can have our cell phones. Some schools have electronics day. They all can have their cell phones out, like the day before a holiday. So you got to get used to these things. Some schools line the kids up and walk them from class to class. Now, that's difficult because I found myself and teachers find themselves telling the kid what to do every day. The kids, you tell the same kids how to line up, to be quiet, head behind head, and they start being late for their own lunch or their own PE classes because they just will not do what's written on the wall, what you're telling them, and what they should know from a couple of years or more of lining up quietly, head behind head, you know, with a door person and a leader and all of this kind of stuff. But they don't get it. Don't get frustrated. They're wasting their time, not yours. And that's a lot of it. It's like, you know what? You're wasting your time. But I also let them know, I know this subject. I can help you. Please don't be shy. Please raise your hand. Please call me. Let me help you. Because I'm not there just to sit around. And I let them know, I like for you to learn something before you leave. And if I find that they're at a level beneath what they should be at, I try to give them some hints, some info, some encouragement, some inspiration, some goal objectives, some career objectives, so they know. And I try to also make it relatable. Why? Because, you know, here's the question we asked in school, and they asked, why are we learning this? How's this going to apply to our real life? Somebody today, kids asked me, how is researching going to apply to their real life? And I'm like, name a subject where you don't have to research something. Name a career where you don't have to research something. I think research is a very basic, fundamental practice. You know what I mean? So it's good to let them know, you know, whatever subject it is, what careers can come out of them knowing that subject and mastering that subject. You know what I mean? That's very good. And just why are you learning this subject? How will contribute to you? And the overall thing for me is like, this is an international world. Jobs are being taken by robotics, by AI, by outsourcing, and the world is getting smaller because of communication, internet. So when you meet people, you should be able to speak, dialogue on many different subjects. You should know where they're from and where that's located on the map if they're from somewhere else. And if they mention somewhere else, if you don't even know, if you think Haiti is in Africa, it's a problem. If you think Singapore is in China, that's a problem. So you need to be well versed on many different subjects. And that will give you respect. And when people respect you, understand you, then communication brings forth elevation. It brings forth materialization. It brings forth partnership. But if somebody thinks that you're not equipped, it's not good. It's not a good look. So I try to tell them all of these kind of things whenever I can, drop little jewels on them, write little things on the board, you know. Okay? So that's it. Substitute teacher. So then make sure you do all your things that you have to do in terms of making sure you get paid. But your approach, calmness, firmness, is the first impression. The first impression is a lasting one. If you look unorganized and nervous, oh, they're going to eat you up. So if you're a nervous type, if you're unorganized, fake it till you make it. And make sure you use those teacher's assistants and the class helpers. They will help you tremendously. They're great. And make sure you reward them. Okay? Because they will save you sometimes. Shout out to all the great students out there. And substitute teachers, do your thing. I'm Mr.O, the hip-hop teacher, yo, because I flow. And right now, I hope you learned something, yo, because I got to go. Peace. Success.